What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love During Lockup Season 4, Episode 43, The $1,000,000 Fantasy. Let's start off with Leticia and Keith. So we start off with them where we left off last week. And this is when she had taken her whole entire staff out for drinks. This is after she had a meeting with her staff, letting them know that Keith, the incarcerated Keith, was going to be their new boss because he is going to help her run the business from behind bars. So obviously, her staff is like, what did you say? But that's how it's going to be. Her incarcerated husband is going to help her run her tax service business from jail. Okay, fine. So then she takes her staff out for drinks. And while they're having drinks at the bar, one of her staff members tells her that another one of her staff members by the name of Deanna used to have a relationship with her husband Keith. And so Leticia's like, what? And so Deanna was like, yes, it's true. I used to go out with Keith, but this was way back in high school and we never slept with one another. So Leticia doesn't believe it, right? And so does nobody else either. Nobody else believed her when she said that they didn't sleep with one another. So Leticia calls Keith's aunt, who she claims, Keith's aunt has her back and her and Keith's aunt are really, really tight. So she calls Keith's aunt and she asks her, she says, you know what? I just found out, or somebody told me that Deanna, the girl that works for me, used to have a relationship with Keith. And the aunt said, yeah, they used to go together back in high school, but that was like back in high school. And so then Leticia says, well, do they ever sleep together? Because Deanna said that they were just talking. And the aunt says, well, the way that I know my nephews, they don't just talk with females. It's a whole lot more that goes on between them. So they were doing more than just talking. But who cares? Even if they were, who the hell cares? This is back in high school. This is years ago. So I don't understand why that staff member decided to spill the beans on Deanna like that, because it makes me wonder, like, do they have like a falling out? Do they have some type of an argument, disagreement for that first employee to want to tell all of Deanna's business like that to Leticia? Like, I didn't get why she did that. So plus it's old. This is old news. They used to go out together when they were in high school. Who cares if they slept together or not? But for whatever reason, it really bothers Leticia. So moving on from there, she's at home now with her very young daughter. Okay, she's got a young child. Her daughter looks to be about maybe between, 7 and 9 years old, somewhere around there. And y'all, it bothers me to no end that people who have young children want to get involved with these half-baked relationships with these inmates. But whatever. I've been talking about it for years. Nobody listens. So she's waiting for Keith to call her so that she can discuss this Deanna situation. So he finally does call her and she gets right to the point. She says, did you sleep with Deanna? And Keith was like, did I what? And that's where the call conveniently drops. Now, I know that they need content for the show, and they think this is interesting content, but to me, it's just useless to go back and forth about whether or not Keith and Deanna slept together 10 years prior. Like, who the hell cares? It was years ago. Was it maybe 10, maybe 15 years prior? Like, I mean, they could have been... Y'all, they could have been sleeping together every day, all day from sun up to sundown. It doesn't matter. That was in high school. But anyways, whatever. Moving on to Andy and Brittany. Now, Andy is our 44-year-old ex-cop who is dating the inmate Brittany. So when I realized that she was 36 years old and she's behind bars, I'm like, girl, you're wasting your life away. Get your life together, girl. Anyways, so Andy goes to see his 2 adult daughters, and they talk about him moving away to be closer to Brittany, but he's going to be further away from his daughters. He's going to be about 4 hours away from them. So the daughters think that it's really weird that he's an ex-cop and now he's dating an inmate. So he gets a chance to video chat with Brittany, and then he introduces his girls to her, I think. And so the older girl, she was really easygoing about it. She was like, hi, Brittany. But the younger girl really didn't want to say hi to her at all, but she reluctantly ended up doing so. So the girls, the older one asked her like right away, what are you in jail for? And Brittany says, I'm in jail for possession. Now the girls talk about how drugs really affected their family. It tore their family apart. At some point, their mother became an addict. She lost custody of them, and that's how they ended up with their dad. And drugs have had a really bad effect on their family. And so the girls don't want drugs to, come around and affect them again. So they ask her if she has any children, and she does. Her oldest is 18 and her youngest is 10. Now, unfortunately, her oldest daughter has taken on somewhat of a mother figure for her younger siblings, because Brittany can't get her stuff together to be around to raise her children. So now it's up to her oldest daughter to take care of the younger siblings, which I think is just so unfair, because at 18 years old, I think her name is Gracie. Gracie needs to be concerned about starting her own life, not about raising somebody else's children. Anywho, plus Andy's going to be meeting Gracie when he goes to visit Brittany in prison. So Andy's youngest daughter, she's the one that has like the most animosity towards Andy. So she tells her dad, so you're going to take care of that girl's kids when you really didn't even raise your own. And Andy was like, no, don't do it. Not today. You're not going to sit up here and make me look like a deadbeat dad. Now, Andy explains that he was a cop and then he was a truck driver. And when he was out there driving trucks, he could be gone for like a month straight, right? And so that took him away from his children. And then when he would come home, I don't know, I guess being on the road for so long, he really wasn't like emotionally present for his kids when he was home. He was like, yeah, I might have made a lot of mistakes, but a deadbeat dad, I was not. So he was really hot under the collar when his kids tried to call him out for not being there for them, and that their grandmother did most of their upbringing, etc., etc. I don't really know what's going on there. I don't know if they feel like he wasn't there because he was working a lot, or if he wasn't there because he chose not to be there, because there's a big difference. If he had to work a lot to support the family, those kids are just going to have to suck it up and accept that, but not call him a deadbeat dad, because he was financially taking care of them. But if he wasn't around because he'd rather be out drinking or rather be out hanging out with his friends or chasing women, that's a whole nother story, and that would make him a deadbeat dad. So the kids tell him that you're jumping from one drug situation to another drug situation. And Andy goes, she's not even on drugs anymore, referring to Brittany. I mean, she's probably not on drugs in prison, but what's going to happen when she gets out? So Andy says that he would love to have his children's support, but he really doesn't need it. He's going to move full force ahead with whatever the hell he wants to do with Brittany, whether his kids are on board or not. So he tries to tell his kids that he wasn't a deadbeat back then, and so on and so forth. So then Brittany calls back. When she calls back, one of the daughters takes the phone from him and tells Brittany, I don't know what my dad told you, but he wasn't there for us, and he wasn't around for us, he didn't raise us, on and on and on. And so Brittany was like, whoa, what's going on? Because that's not how he portrayed it to me. He never told me that. And so Andy was like, Brittany, I did tell you that I was gone a lot, or whatever explanation he was trying to give her. And Brittany was like, I would have remembered that if he told me that. So I'm thinking to myself, why is Brittany getting so upset with Andy because he miscommunicated or lied to her about how much he was involved with his kids, when, sweetheart, you're sitting in prison, you're behind bars, you can't get it together to do what you need to do to stay out of prison to take care of your kids, but you're going to criticize and berate him? Maybe she wasn't criticizing him for how he raised his kids, but criticizing him for lying to her. Maybe that's why she was upset, because he probably misconstrued the truth, and she doesn't want to be with someone who can't be honest with her. Maybe that's what that was. Moving on to Jade and Chris. So Jade and Chris. Jade is the one that is, she is like sitting comfortably because Chris is spending so much money on her, because he is part of a Native American tribe that has a casino on tribal lands, and so he is getting like $10,000 to $12,000 per month and spending it all on Jade. So Jade and her sister, they're on their way to go what do they call it, off-roading or something, when you get in when you're riding those all-terrain vehicles, like a four-wheeler or whatever, that I think it's called a side by, I don't know what it's called. So anyway, so she's on her way to do that with her sister, and they're having a conversation about her relationship with Chris. Now, everybody knows Chris is extremely controlling. He's extremely controlling. And her sister asks her, do you think that he's trying to buy you, is he trying to buy your love, with all this money that he's spending? I don't know if Chris is trying to buy her love. He is definitely trying to buy her submissiveness. He is trying to control her and keep her in check with his money. I don't know if he's trying to buy her love. He's trying to control her with that money. So Jade said that when she met Chris, she had no idea that he had money. She just saw this really hot guy that she wanted to get to know. Then they talk about how much money Chris has spent on her. He has spent almost it was like $570,000 for the house that she lives in, a truck that cost 60,000, a side by side, I think that's that all-terrain vehicle that cost 34,000, and a camper that was between 50 to 60,000. So the sister says that he's spent over $1 million on Jade easily from prison. So while they are out there, off-roading, having a good time, Chris has called her phone 18 times. Okay. She finally answers it on the 19th ring. And so both her and the sister are like, Chris, you are like losing your mind. You have to stop with all this calling. And of course, Chris is like, I just want to talk to you. That's all I want to do. When you consider all that I've done for you, all I want to do is talk to you. He completely manipulates her and guilts her into, that's how he controls her, with manipulation and guilt. So, and I'm thinking to myself, if he's this bad from prison, how do you think he's going to be when he gets out? It's going to be 100 times worse. Jade, if you had any sense, you would run for the hills, because if he can control you this much from prison, how do you think it's going to be when he gets out? Even if he even gets out, because I think he's the one that had that really long sentence. And so, Chris, because the sister, she's like ready to confront him, because Jay plans to go visit him, and she wants her sister to come with her. And the sister was like, when I see him, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind for how he's treating my sister. And she tells him on the phone, the way you're acting, you're going to drive a wedge in between me and Jade. And Chris tells the sister, he tells her, if anything, you should be encouraging her to answer my calls, because you're benefiting from my money. And what can she say? Because she was definitely out there on that side-by-side, all-terrain vehicle, ATV, whatever you want to call it. She was definitely out there having a damn good time on his dime. Moving on from there, we have Rika and Asante. So Rika, she's the one with the very adult baby hairs framing her face. And her hair is like lime green or something. So Rika, she's out with her family, and her sister is letting her know that she is not happy about Rika moving away to be closer to Asante. She says to her, you're my sister. I don't want you to leave. You're going to be taking my nieces away from me. Yeah, this is not a good idea for you to be moving for Asante. She says, and so Rika says, well, I'm doing this because, Asante, he's really been there for me. How can he be there for you from prison? Like, what are you talking about? And you're sending him money. How has he been there for you? So the sister says that her sister wants them to stop this generational curse that, prison life has put some type of a curse on this family. Number one, their father is an ex-felon. Number two, Rika is dating a current prisoner. So her sister is like, I don't want our daughters to see this and think that this is okay, that it's okay for them to get with people who are incarcerated. So later on, Asante, she FaceTimes Rika. Now, Asante has his own iPhone behind bars. And Renika's like, I don't know how he got that iPhone, but because he's got it, we can talk anytime we want. Well, he got it from a female, obviously. So she doesn't know. Okay, so they're FaceTiming each other. She gives him a little peek show. She does a little, little something for him on the iPhone. And she tells him that even though her family does not agree with their relationship, she's going to stand by her man, blah, blah, blah. She ain't going nowhere. And she says that even though she doesn't trust him, she does love him. And I was so confused about that, because how can you love someone that you don't trust? Like, that made no sense to me. And I know in her world, and a lot of these people who date prisoners world, this makes a lot of sense, that you can love someone but not trust them. I can understand if she would have said, I love him, but I'm very cautious. I'm moving very cautiously in this relationship. But I don't see how you can just say, I love him. I don't trust him, but I love him. So she asked him, because I guess, people have been telling her that he's seeing other women. So she asked him, do you see other women? And he says, do I see other women? No. So he does the typical liar thing when you answer a question with a question, or you answer a question with what you were just asked. Are you seeing other women? Am I seeing other women? Because you need time to kind of like put your thoughts together to come up with your lie. So Asante says, no, Renika, yeah, this is where she says that she loves him, but she doesn't trust him. She knows damn well that he sees other women. She knows it, but she probably really doesn't care because she thinks at the end of the day, she's going to be the one that he chooses. Moving on from there, we have Brittany and Key Rock. So she's hanging out with Key Rock's best friend and her own best friend. EB, which is Key Rock's best friend, and Shayla, which is her best friend. And they're basically asking her, are you and Key Rock really ready for this relationship when he gets released? How is it going to be with y'all? Because y'all had problems when y'all were in prison together. And the issues that they had was that they were cheating on each other behind bars. So like, how is it going to be when he comes out? Brittany reassures them that they love each other and that, you know, they're not going to be cheating on each other when he gets out. EB wants Brittany to prove to Key Rock that she's worthy of being with Key Rock, even though Key Rock also cheated on Brittany. Okay, so she's at the ATM now and she's depositing money into Key Rock's account because he runs a business from prison. He has this like laundry cleaning business from prison. I mean, prison is like its own little society. You know, they're running businesses because I can't even remember their names from last season. That guy that was running, what was his name? I can't remember any of their names. He was like running a shoe company from prison. He was buying her cars from prison. So Key Rock has his own little laundromat business, and Brittany deposits money into his account to help him out. After that, they start talking about their wedding because they're going to get married. And Brittany says that she wants to have 4 or 5 kids. And we get a glimpse, or we get a shot of her ring that Key Rock had bought, her engagement ring, and supposedly this ring was $4,000. This ring did not look like no $4,000 to me. It did not glisten the way a diamond, like a real diamond, would glisten, but you know, whatever. So Brittany actually lives with his family because her family does not accept her dating Key Rock at all. So her family is very conservative, very Catholic. They don't accept it. So now she lives with Key Rock's family. But the thing is, Key Rock's brothers really don't care for her for some reason. So she FaceTimes Key Rock. Her and the 2 brothers are FaceTiming Key Rock. At some point, she gets up and walks away, and Key Rock asks his brothers, so what time has she been getting home from work? And the brother says, well, the restaurant closes at 12, but she comes in like at 3. So you know, Key Rock was like, well, yeah, y'all need to keep an eye on that. So when she gets back on the call, Key Rock tells her, you know, you don't even have to work. I don't even know why you're working over there at that restaurant. I want you to concentrate on your cosmetology school. And he tells her that if your grades start slipping, you're going to have to quit working. And I'm thinking, how are you going to control somebody from behind? How are you going to control anybody, period? And Brittany was like, okay. I'm like, there are some women out there who love to be controlled and dominated and told exactly what to do. Now, in some areas of the relationship, I get it, okay? If you know what I'm saying. But like on the everyday living stuff, like going to school and whether or not you can work, how are you going to let another adult talk to you like you're a child and say, if your grades start slipping, you're going to be on punishment? Like, I'm not understanding this, but Brittany loves it. Brittany loves it. She loves being controlled by Key Rock. That is the end of my review. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Everybody's a mess. Everybody on this show is a mess. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. And if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. And then I'll talk to you later. Bye.